friends. So this month we've been talking about, growth and the sort of obstacles that we hit along the way and things that we can do. So today I wanted to talk about failure and, failing to finish a task or quitting or whatever that might be for us. And if you're a human, you have absolutely done this before. I know I have. We've all at some point in our life had something that we just didn't finish. I mean, I started making, I joined a sewing class with a good friend of mine about 30 years ago, and I really wanted to learn how to sew. And I started to make a skirt, and it's still sitting in my sewing basket 30 years later. And it wasn't because I at the time, feel like I really wanted it. It just, for some reason, never stuck with me. And I'm okay with that. Failure to finish doesn't always feel great. Sometimes you wish you could get back in there and really do a great job at whatever that was. But sometimes it's just not the right thing for you at that time. So I want to explore that a little bit today. So we're going to look at what do we make it mean when we fail at something or we quit something, and what can we learn from that, and then finally, what can we do next? So before we do that, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Nancy Brooker. I'm the Living in Yes coach for women who feel overwhelmed by life's demands and secretly feel like they're not good enough, but are really ready to transform that inner critic, that voice inside their heads, so that they can really start embracing life. So they hire me to help them really connect to their inner worth, to trust themselves, so that they can start rocking their relationships, stressing less, and living in yes. So let's go here about talking more about failure. So what do we make it mean when we quit or we fail at something? Well, it's natural for us to associate negative emotions, of course, with this. We might feel like a failure, like we're weak, or maybe that we just don't have the commitment that it takes. Sometimes we feel guilty or ashamed or really start to doubt ourselves. And these are all sort of unhelpful thoughts and feelings that we might have. It's really important for us to stop and take a look at these thoughts and these emotions that come up. And sometimes we even find ourselves wondering, like, does that mean I'm just not good enough? Or what are other people thinking of me? I didn't finish. There's so much self-judgment that's involved when we don't meet, and it could be an internal expectation that we had of ourselves. It could be an external expectation that somebody else had of us, or a perceived expectation that we thought somebody had. And sometimes it's just an impossibly high standard that we've set for ourselves. And I know that is very common. So I just want you to know that quitting doesn't define you as a person. It's important to realize that sometimes it just means that our priorities or our circumstances have changed, or it just wasn't the right fit for us. And we're going to look at that at the end of today's chat. What do we learn from not finishing? Well, we learn a lot. One thing is we learn how not to do the task the next time. Of course, that's the first thing we learn. Learning what not to do is really an essential part of the whole learning process, because it tells you what actions, what behaviors you don't want to do the next time. So actually, the more times we fail, the more times we learn how to not accomplish our task, which is actually a helpful thing. You will learn something about yourself. You're going to learn about your resilience, your perseverance, your ability to deal with obstacles, to bounce back, and your ability to just move with the flow as well. I think is just important because, like I said, sometimes it has to do more with our life circumstances, our changes in our values, our goals, our needs. Life isn't static, and things change, and it's okay to readjust and reevaluate what we're doing. Of course, if it's something really important to you, then what you've learned is that maybe you have some work to do on yourself and on all of those beliefs and emotions that you're having about getting that thing done, so that by doing the inner work, you can actually get the outer work done too. Sometimes we just learn that it's time to move on. Sometimes we just look at it and We realize that we're not in the same place that we were when we started. Again, that, or could be that our the failure isn't even in our control. It's not something we have any control over. It could be that there's not a market for something that we're wanting this new product idea out, or maybe there's something financial that's going on, or maybe it just doesn't reflect our current values and our current needs, and that's just not important to us anymore. And it's okay, when you're looking at your smarter goals, evaluate and read it and readjust is what the ER is for in the end. So it's okay to do that, and it doesn't have to be the exact same thing. It could be some version of what we originally had wanted to do, or it could be something completely different depending on our circumstances. So what do we do next? Well, I think we've pretty much been talking about it the whole time. It's time to reevaluate our values and our needs and our realities in our life, and how do they sort of intermesh with whatever this goal is that we have? Have they changed? Have we changed jobs? Do we need to devote more time to work now, and so we don't have time for whatever this other thing is? Maybe we've transitioned to a new phase in our life and our priorities have changed. Maybe now we're at a point in our life where we're looking for more freedom or more adventure, where that maybe wasn't as important before when we were, maybe parenting and having more responsibilities. Or maybe we're moving into parenting and we're not having as much time for some of those things. So it's really important when a failure happens. There is no such thing actually as failure. I don't even like that word. It's all feedback. It's all learning. So it's important to get really clear on what it is that we want, so that we can start embracing new opportunities. Unfinished endeavors can lead to opportunities and new personal growth. So what's the bottom line? Well, the bottom line is that when we don't finish something, or when we quit something, we'll always assign a lot of different meanings to it. We'll have a lot of different beliefs around it, and probably a lot of self-judgment too. And it's really important to really work through those thoughts and beliefs, and do some self-exploration to get ourselves past that, so we can bounce back, be resilient, and pivot, or either change the plan or pivot to a new plan, or do whatever it is that's right for us. We learn a lot from our failures, and we can apply those lessons to our new tasks, whether again it's the sort of similar path, or a pivot, or completely something different. Quitting does not define our worth as individuals at all. And we can use that failure as an opportunity to reevaluate and readjust our goals, so that we can embrace new opportunities and feel really in alignment with our own values and needs. So it's really a whole process of self-reflection and adaptation. And that's just how it is, right? So I'm going to leave you with this quote from Ariana Huffington. And she says, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. So I love that little reframe. Remember, you are awesome and amazing. And if you need some help readjusting, reevaluating your goals, let's chat. Thanks for listening. Grab your freebies down below this video. 7 simple ways to de-stress, how to help your child with anxiety, developing your own communication style, all free. And join me over at Living in Yes on Facebook. Please subscribe to this channel. Would love to talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.